Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this tutorial, I want to show you how I modeled these objects. It is quite interesting and a very challenging model with the repeating parts and the panel cut in the middle, but you will find everything you need in this tutorial. You can note that you can find similar and more content on my Patreon page. You can check out the link below in the description. Now, let's get into the tutorial. Firstly, let's add in an image plane. I will go to the front view, Shift and V back. I'm going to add this one in. I will also increase up the transparency. Now let's see what we could do about this object. Let me grab the doodle tool. So basically, first off, I want to ignore these circular details, because this is something I add lastly. What I want to focus on is this pattern that repeats around 5 times. Knowing that, I'm going to add in a disk, set this to Z, scale that up. Then I'm going to set this to 5 because we need to repeat that around 5 times. Obviously, one polygon will not allow us to model that pattern, so I'm going to multiply 5 by 4. Basically, now I have 4 polygons to model this pattern. What is more, I could simplify it even further. First, let me make this disk editable, Tab C, and select these 4 polygons. I'm going to invert the selection and delete these polygons. We do not need that doodle anymore, just delete it. So as I said, we could simplify the mesh even further by deleting these polygons. The reason is the pattern itself is also mirrored. So as long as we have that edge, I can model that part first, then mirror it on the other side. My first tool is going to be a loop cut tool. I will add this one in over here, then this one over here. I will hold down Shift, add this loop right in the middle, then increase up the segments of that loop to, say, 4. Once I have done that, I will go into points mode, then grab rectangle selection tool, select these points, scale them on the X by holding Shift, and move them into proper position. I will also scale them up on the Y. Okay. Now we need to move that point, but I should not be using the move tool. The reason is that point should be on track. It should be on that edge loop perfectly to mirror these polygons on the other side. So whatever we do, we should keep this point on track. So instead of move tool, I will use slide tool and slide that down. It is going to be that easy. For that part, this is going to be the outline. So we need that loop right around here. Perfect. Now let me select the polygons in the middle by holding right mouse and delete them. Now it is time to repeat this around, but first we need to mirror these polygons. To do that, I will hold down Alt, add in a symmetry, radial, set this to 2. We should be on the Z plane and mirror it. Now all I need to do is offset the rotation. It seems like 36 is what we are looking for. I'm going to make this symmetry editable, but before doing that, I need to enable the weld option. Tab C. I'm going to delete these polygons. We could do this in points mode. Now let's repeat that around 5 times. Symmetry, radial, Z, 5. Enable weld, and this is going to be it. Now I want to hide this object and work on something else. It is quite hard to tell, but the surface is curved out. It has a curvature. So to get that surface first, I'm going to model a different object. I will add in a disk, change the orientation, scale that up to that point. Then I will increase up the segments. Let's set this to 100 and this one to 50 because I want this object as smooth as possible. To curve that object out, I will use a deformer called Spherify. Hold down Shift, add this one in, move it on the Z. Let's go to the top view. So something like that is what we need. Now I will right click on the disk and click on Connect Objects and Delete. I will call this Pro and hide it. Now let's go back to the original mesh. Now I want to subdivide this mesh at least one time. The reason is we don't have enough amount of resolution to project this object onto a curved surface. Just look at over here, we have simply 2 polygons, plus We have upcoming details like these circles in the middle, which means that we are going to need more resolution. So this is why I want to subdivide this mesh. I will simply hold down Alt and select the subdivision surface. These points are not connected. To do that, I will select the symmetry and put it under the connect object. This is going to solve this out. Now I want to work on the flow. By the way, this is not necessary, but this is something I always do. Now I will select that edge, enable subdivision surface, and I will dissolve that out. Notice the flow. Right click, dissolve. Now, in fact, let me dissolve out to other edge. Right click, dissolve. Not that one, that one. Right click, dissolve, and just look at the flow. It is going with the cuts, with that detail, and this is exactly what I want. As I said, it is not necessary, but in our case, it is going to adding that panel cuts detail way easier. Let's go back to the subdivision surface and set this to 1. 2 is too extreme. 1 is going to be more than enough. Now, let's tap C on the keyboard, select the subdivision surface. I will just double click on that loop, scale it up to somewhere around here. These edges as well. Alt and Shift. Double click, scale them up. Now let's project this one onto this projection object. I will go into object mode, Alt and Shift, add and shrink wrap deformer, and move the projection object into the target object tab. This is it. Let's check it one more time. Notice the flow, it is going with that panel cut, which is exactly what I want. Before applying this deformer though, I want to select that loop and turn this into a perfect circle. Right click, hit circle, apply the tool, same thing, right click, circle. Before proceeding further, let me scale these points up. In fact, we could enable symmetry hub, radial 5 times along the Z. I should turn off mirror. I will just move that up. Since the surface is flat, I could do that without using the slide tool. The thing with the symmetry hub is that sometimes it doesn't work, like that point. But it comes in very handy in many situations. I want to select these ones as well, slide them up just a bit. That edge loop is going in a different direction. So let's turn this off and do this one by one. Okay, seems fine to me, which means that I could apply the shrink wrap deformer. Right click, connect objects, and delete. Let's make some changes to the viewport. I will head over model layout, turn off the work plane. Hopefully this time around symmetry hub will work properly. I will enable it because I want to extrude these edges, Alt and Control, scale them in, then apply the fit circle tool. And it doesn't work again. Turn this off. Alt and Control, then apply the fit circle tool. Move it into proper position. I'm going to flatten these out by scaling them on the Z by holding Shift. Stop at 0, move it. Then I will Alt and Control. Now it is time to work on these polygons in the middle. So what I'm going to do is quite simple. First, I will add in more resolution. Bevel, one subdivision will be enough. Then I'm going to select these polygons in the middle or loops in the middle and move them in with the normal move tool. Then I want to do the same thing to these edges in the middle. This is something I learned recently from one of you guys. It looks like if you use slide tool by holding Shift, it moves the edges along the normals. So I will do that, Alt and Shift, and move these edges like so. I need to have a nice curvature on these polygons, so I will check this out. Seems fine to me. Now we need to simplify the mesh again to add in that circle in the middle. I don't want to do that 5 times, so double click on that vertical edge loop, then that edge loop, UNI, and delete. In fact, you know what? I could first add in that detail, then delete the polygons. To add that circle in, I will use a cylinder, Z, remove the height segments. I will set this to 8. Then I'm going to scale that down. By the way, I am trying to match these crossing points and edges as accurate as possible. Alright, now I will select the object, Alt down Alt, Boolean, and put the cylinder below it. Okay, let's make the Boolean editable. I will go into Points mode, Polygon Pen tool to clean up the mesh. I'm going to hit Ctrl Z because I want to make sure that this is right in the middle of the world. Yeah, it looks like it is. So I accidentally moved out the position of these points slightly, but it is not too big of a deal. I could fix that. Let's make this editable. Polygon Pen tool. I'm talking about that point. Either the cylinder or the original mesh we were working on is misplaced. But anyways, I will show you how you can fix that. Now let's fix the topology. My target points will be the points of the cylinder. We have duplicated points over here. We could use Optimize tool to merge them. Okay, let's apply the tool. Hold Ctrl A, right click, optimize. What about that one? Again, my target is the cylinder, so I will merge the point to that one. Now I could select these edges and invert it. I'm sorry. First, make a fill selection, invert the selection, delete these polygons. While these are selected, we could reverse the normals. Next up, we are going to mirror this. Let's go to the radial, Z, to mirror, enable welds, and offset the rotation to 36. I know these edges don't match, but it is quite easy to fix. Let's make this editable and remove these points. Now, another symmetry, radial, this time 5 times Z, enable welds to weld these edges, and this one as well. I will use the connect object, add this one in, and increase up the tolerance. Okay, it seems like one is working properly, but make sure that it doesn't merge unnecessary points. We can test it out by dropping this connect object under a subdivision surface. Just check the flow. In our case, it is looking pretty okay, except for that part. So I will go to the connect and increase that up. Now we could make the symmetry editable. Connect object editable. Tap C. Now I will simply add in supporting edges. Let me try the symmetry hub. This time around, it seems like it is working, surprisingly. Anyways, let's select these edges. Bevel, go into solid mode, set this to uniform, bevel these out. Something is not right here. I don't know how I got these points, but I will hit Ctrl Z. Yeah, we need to delete these before making this connect object editable. Tab C, symmetry hub, Alt and Shift, select these edges, enable sub D, bevel in solid mode, and bevel these out. You can adjust this to your liking, and this is looking quite fine to me. I want to also reduce the tension on these polygons by adding a loop cut in the middle. Select it, slide tool, hold down shift, and move these out or scale them out. What about these ones? Well, it's going to be quite simple. Let's turn off symmetry hub, bevel these out, hit Q. Then these loops, I'm going to select them real quick with the loop selection tool. By the way, you can note that you can find the selection tools by tapping V. Then you can go to select and select the selection tool you want in case you don't remember them. All right, bevel tool, bevel these out. Looks perfect. Now what about these triangles? Let me group up the selection one time, then apply the close polygon hole tool. I will go into patch mode, rotate this around until I have that edge loop, perfect edge loop in the middle. Hit Q. Looks perfect. Now I think we could scale these down slightly, not too much. Hold down Control, extrude 2 times, then select this loop, hold down Control, extrude, and I'm going to select that edge loop, extrude. Now we could drop in more loops to tighten up some edges. Lastly, let's add in these cuts, panel cuts. Obviously, we need to select the path. So let's start to select the edges that we want to bevel. I'm going to first slide that point up with that one as well to have a better flow. Then I should select the last one by holding Ctrl and Shift, which will select the edges in between. Let's look at the image plane. So it goes down. Again, I'm holding Ctrl and Shift. Then it goes around. Okay, this one goes up, goes around. Okay, we got the edges we want, but we need to apply the smooth edges tool. The reason is, if you look at these edges, they are not following a very, smooth path. So to fix that problem, I will use smooth edges tool. And notice what it is going to do to these edges. Apply the tool, and here we go. Now we have a really nice and smooth edge flow. Now, bevel tool. With one subdivision, I will bevel these out. Then I will double click on the edge in the middle to select the whole loop. Then I will move this on the Z. Next up, I will make a loop selection. Slide tool, hold down Control to clone. Same here, loop, hold down Control, clone, hit Q, take out, and here we go. Final result. No pinching, no bulging, no artifacts. It is looking just perfect. Let's check the topology. Looks quite good to me. I mean, we have some tension on these points, but as long as these don't cause any artifacts, we are good to go. So I believe I could wrap up the tutorial. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know, and I will see you in the next ones. Bye.